Everyone. So we're back in my office on the NSU main campus in Davie. Today, I just want to talk briefly. It's basically what I'm going to do. Um, I'm not going to be wasting a lot of your time, no worries. It's just a brief editorial. I like to complement my usual lectures, which we will get into, that, like I said before, are actually taken from the book. I also want to supplement that with, my opinions on current technological trends that are going on right now. So we can call them editorials. Feel free, if you're not interested, to not view or just scan over. You're obviously not going to be tested on these topic. It's just something that is related to the class that I want to communicate to you. During our first lecture coming up, we're going to be talking about basically the different expectations, which I'm sure you've already encountered, between the business side of any corporation, whether that is the C-suite or any manager, probably people that are more akin to what you do in your daily work life. And then the IT center. I'm sure you can imagine that there are very different expectations on both ends. And also there is the pervasive question that I've been asked numerous times from students like you, basically asking, why are we as business students required to take this class? Why is it so important for us to learn about technology from a more microscopic view when there is that IT department there to support our technological needs? And obviously, we're not going to be going to the extent of programming in this class. It's still very much business driven and for you to make adequate decisions in those areas. And of course, all of those reasons are things that we'll be discussing further on in the term, especially starting with week 1, where we'll be talking about the business strategy triangle. But another reason that I think is so important for you guys to be well versed in technology, especially in this day and age, and this is going to be the topic of my short lecture today, and it is something that I've been thinking a lot about recently, and that I don't think is something that has enough recognition in the field. I'm sure all of you are aware of the need to be computer/information literate in this day and age. It's a given. We live in a world that is flooded with information. I usually use the statistics that I believe in the past 3 years, about 90% of all of the information was created within that time frame. So we know that we are dealing with a huge database or segment of information like we have never before, and there is a lot of emphasis on the need to be able to think critically about that information and be able to make critical decisions based on that flood of information, to basically be able to weed out what is good information versus what is bad or just unnecessary or irrelevant information. That's something that we're going to be going over a lot in this class, and that I'm sure you've already have a lot of experience in. And as an aside, also, it basically goes in my belief. I'm sure in a lot of your either undergraduate or graduate classes that a lot of professors have told you not to use Wikipedia. My view of Wikipedia is that by all means you can use the information, but I want you to be aware of where it comes from and to be able to make that judgment call and show me that you are thinking critically and not taking that information as a given. So you can use and cite that information. In many cases, I do realize that it is very valid information, but you will need to support it with other information that is in agreement with whatever statement you are finding on this platform. What I'm getting at beyond information literacy is the ability to realize or to think critically about the values not only of the information itself, but the actual systems that we use every day. Any type of technological tool or space, whether it is a software, a hardware, whether it is an enterprise information system, an ERP that we'll be talking about in this class, or Facebook, is all created by corporations, but at the root of it, by people like us that have their own interests, their own values, their own cultural baggages. And by using this fundamentally value-laden creation, we are borrowing someone else's perspective. In many cases, that those interests and values will match our own. For example, software products that have really taken over in the workplace, like Microsoft Word, there's an inherent reason. It's because even though they do contain very westernized values of what work is, they do work in corporate settings, which itself has been very homogenized. If we take it one step further in other categories like new media, Facebook, that is so wide-reaching and reaches at such a personal level, there have often been conflicts between the programmers and the designers' interests and values and viewpoints and its users. For example, I believe it was in 2010, the whole hoopla with their privacy policy. That is a prime example of the need to consciously be aware that any technological entity is value-laden. It is a creation of someone with their own interests, their own culture, their own background, so on and so forth. With that said, there needs to be, in my opinion, and I hope that you learn that, in the same way that we can take the Facebook example, an ERP system that a company will purchase from a third-party company is in and of itself a artifact of cultural baggage and interests that that particular company upholds. It is very important to make sure that those values and interests can align themselves with the purchasing company, or in the case of a more personal software, that it aligns with our own values. For example, in the case of Facebook, that our own needs in terms of privacy and protecting our information does match with the company that we are actually providing all of that information to. Being aware of this fact makes us, first and foremost, better consumers, but it does also force the companies to regard us as informed consumers that are aware of the inherent malleability of all of these tools, that if they can be created, they can also be changed. And if the majority of the consumers, in the case of Facebook, do not agree with the processes and the policies that are being in place by this code, it can be changed. It can be changed to reflect the needs and the interests of the majority. If any of you are familiar with the work of Lawrence Lessig, you'll remember one of his first book, Code. It's a great book. If any of you are interested in the history of the internet and basically the adoption of this technological facet in our everyday life, he goes on to talk about code as akin to law. That code, the programming language that is the basis for all pieces of software, and the internet and the web in and of themselves, argues that code is what has given a structure, set limits to cyberspace, basically in the same way that laws in a society structures our society and attunes our behaviors and attitudes towards each other. So just keep in mind that, throughout the term we'll see different examples where the technology and human values do not match. And, whether it's on a personal level or on a corporate level, we'll see that that is a source of tension that is very problematic in the human-technology relationship. Basically, we've discussed a lot, and we see it basically every day. I've done a lot of research on it, of empowering people through technology, of using social media like Facebook, Twitter, and so on to create awareness of conflict or wrongdoings in our society or in other societies. What I think really needs to be focused on now is really that empowerment in relation to the technology. That a lot of times we are made to feel inferior to the technology because we can't really tangibly access it or have that knowledge. It often is shrewd in mystery, but the ability to just acknowledge that it is a human creation that has the values and interests of its creators, I think makes us more aware of the possibility for us as consumers, as users, to have a say in how that technology is designed and how it shapes our lives. And that is going to translate very well into a business perspective as well. So in a few days, I'll be posting actually our first session. Depending on what you feel, maybe you will want to watch this afterwards. It's really up to you. It's more, like I said, it's more of an editorial than, any true lecture out of the book. Basically just letting you know my opinion and research interests, so it will, allow you to interact and get to know me better also as an instructor. And hopefully we'll be able to pique your interest in different things that you might be seeing every day and not really realizing their relevance to our course. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon.